Hi everyone, welcome to Online Piano Learning. If you're new to this channel, my name is Sara. I'm a piano teacher and classical pianist based in Canada. The goal of my channel is to get you all the musicianship skills that you'll need in order to reach your goals as a musician and pianist. I will be starting from the very beginning, so you don't need any background knowledge to start learning piano with me right here. So feel free to subscribe for more if you would like to learn. Now let's get to today's topic, playing hands together. A lot of you have told me that the biggest struggle in your practicing as a beginner is figuring out how to get your hands to play hands together. This is a very common problem because as a pianist, you not only have to learn how to read notes in two different clefs, the treble clef and the bass clef, but you also have to learn how to use the left hand, right hand, and your feet for the pedaling. Remember all the dynamics and other instructions that you get in your music. So if you feel overwhelmed, don't worry. I will show you some tips so you can take it one step at a time. So here's what to do if you want to learn how to play hands together at the piano. The first thing that many people start with is to play hands separately. So you play one hand and then you play the other hand and then you put them together. There's some great benefits to practicing hands separately, but there's also some problems that can occur if you practice too many times just hands separately and avoid putting the hands together. Here's why hand separate practice is great. Hand separate practice allows you to take one hand, learn all the notes in that one hand without being confused by the other hand. You can also focus on counting the rhythm without being overwhelmed by two rhythms occurring at the same time. Another thing that is good is that you can focus on some technical problems within one hand and focus directly on fixing it without the other hand being a distraction. Hand separate practice is useful for beginners, but it's also useful all the way up to an advanced level because we all have technical issues to figure out once in a while. Playing the one hand that's bugging you can be very helpful for fixing a technical problem, practicing a fingering that you just changed, and many more reasons. Now let's talk about why hand separate practice can be a bad thing. A lot of beginners start with hand separate because they're not used to reading the treble clef and bass clef at the same time. This is totally okay because you have to start somewhere and being able to read the hands together might not be possible if you just started learning how to read notes. However, as soon as you've played both hands separately a few times, I want you to get started on playing hands together. If you delay this process, you're going to notice it gets harder to play hands together. It's like your brain is a computer and you have one file for the right hand and one file for the left hand, and now you're trying to merge them into one file. That is a bit trickier than starting to work them slowly together. Even if it takes a while, start practicing hands together as soon as you can. Before we start practicing our hands together and learn the tricks, let's go over the common problems that happen while you're practicing hands together. One common problem is that your hands want to copy each other. Let's say you're playing with both hands and the right hand is going up and the left hand should be going down. Sometimes the left hand goes up and copies the right hand instead of going in the opposite direction. Another common problem that happens is that the rhythm doesn't line up. For example, if you have eighth notes in the left hand and in the right hand you have quarter notes, you might not know which notes go together. Now I'm going to give you the tricks that my students and I use to practice hands together, and then we're going to look at Minuet in G major, which is by Petzold, but it used to be known as being composed by Bach. We're going to look at that piece together and do these steps. Step 1, get rid of the notes. I know it seems like it's not a logical thing to do because we have to know what the notes are in order to play the piece. But sometimes reading the notes, counting the rhythm, and thinking about technique all at once can be very difficult for beginners. So let's start with the rhythm. Take both hands and you can either tap on your lap, on a table, or you can close your piano lid and then tap on top of your piano lid. Tap the rhythm of the hands together and count. For example, in the Petzold, we are in 3/4. So we are going to count 1 and 2 and 3 and because we have eighth notes in the piece and we want to know exactly where to place the eighth notes. So here's what we're going to do to tap it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and. Now, if you find that tricky, I want you to try something else. Here's a step that I want you to add if you find this difficult. When you tap the right hand, say right hand, and if you tap the left hand, say left hand, and if both hands are playing, I want you to say together. So for example, like this. Together, right, right, together, right, together, right, right, together, right, 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 together, right, right, together, right, 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 together, right, 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 together, together, right, together, right, together, right, left, 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 left. That is how we're going to work on the piece all the way through. If this worked for you, I want you to go back to the counting and add that back in. You might want to repeat this step if you're playing a piece with ornaments, such as this minuet in G major. As you can see, this minuet has ornaments. These squiggly lines are musical ornaments. They're essentially decorations around the melody notes, and there are many different types. The ones in this music are mordents, which mean that they start on the melody note, drop down a step, and back up to the melody note. When you figure out your ornaments, I recommend you add them in as soon as possible because they will affect not only your rhythmic alignment with the other hand, but also your fingerings. So repeat the process of tapping the rhythm with your added ornaments. They are very common, especially within the Baroque style, but don't feel like it's super strict because in the Baroque tradition, it is normal for the musician to add or improvise ornaments within the music. So feel free to have fun with them. Playing different ornaments the second time around is a great way to add artistic flair. In the next step, I've already added in the ornaments when I'm playing. Now I want you to put your hands back at the piano and we're going to try the same thing at the piano, playing and counting. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and. Once you've practiced slowly and counting, and you feel confident in your rhythm, that's when you can start to increase your tempo little by little until you get to your final tempo. I'll leave an IMSLP link of this piece below so you can feel free to download and play along with me. It's a really good piece for beginners. If this rhythm is still tricky for you, I want you to try the same thing that we did when we were tapping the rhythms. So say together, right, right, together, right, right, right. And see if that works. And then go back to counting to make sure that your rhythm is still the same. If you have trouble lining up the hands, I want you to take a pencil and I want you to draw a vertical line from the right hand note down to the left hand note. So that helps your eyes know exactly which notes are together. Another thing that you should do is write down the counting. So take that pencil and write down 1 and 2 and 3 and, okay? And that will help you keep track of what you're saying and be able to see it at the same time. One thing that you shouldn't write in your music is the letter names. I know it can be tempting because reading can be slow at the beginning, but do not write the letter names in your music because your brain will start relying on them. And if your brain starts relying on them, then it will slow down and your reading will not get faster. Just enjoy the process, even if it's slow. Just keep going and use these little tips to practice the whole piece. If you thought this was helpful for your hands together practice, give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Share it with any of your friends who are looking to learn piano and are struggling with playing hands together, or maybe they just want more theory understanding or musicianship skills. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.